Hi everyone, this is Mahesh Pandey. Welcome to my closing notes on the CISA overall training that we have gone through for last uh, 40 plus hours, almost like 60 hours plus that we can say in terms of preparation on the training, explanation, as well as going through that each topic in detail, as well as the practice tests that we have executed. Okay, and we have responded why right, why wrong. I must appreciate your efforts and the dedication towards attending this session and contributing to this CISA training with me. Okay, must appreciate that. So thank you very much. If you have anything in future that you would like to take it up and ask me queries related to, or you want to refer my services, please note that this is a contact number that you have. Office related queries, you have right side number. Okay. And my personal number is also mentioned there, and email ID. Personal number can be used for some specific queries related to your career. Administrative reasons for, of course, you have the office number provided to you. Okay. Uh, this is my current qualification that I have. Some more addition, that is the SIAM professional, that is also there. You will have some more certifications like the CSAM, as well as PMP, which is left. I'm a Prince 2 trainer for a long. I've been in training altogether for last 10 plus years. We'll be getting into some more certifications, and in general, I keep a target of 2 to 3 certificates in a year. To this year is already achieved, but I'll be going ahead for some more certifications. Now, overview of CISA. Okay, that the contents that you have 5 domains. Okay, first one is information system audit process, where you have a 21% weightage. So your examination is based on 150 questions at this point in time, and your overall marks that you have is you have to score 450 out of 800. So 57% is what you are supposed to score. Okay, so grading, CISA will do it, ISACA will do it. Now the first domain that you in general that you can expect that the 32 questions. All right, so second is governance and management, which 17%, is information system acquisition development 12%, and you have information system operations, maintenance, and resilience 23%, and followed by 27% on the highest weightage is given on a protection of information assets. So these are 5 domains. Okay, now this is from a content point of view what we have learned. So if I want to get into the topics in detail one by one, okay, so if the first domain that we have, before that we said that we are going to deliver this, and you can see that a review manual, you can certainly get it from the, of course, ISACA, as well as a copy that you can have it. Auditing standard, flashcard, bringing everyone on the same page that we did. We started with a lot of topics like the basics of information security concepts that we did, like vulnerability, penetration. You have information security, that you have the risk related concepts. We had a dialogue related to attack, when you had the authentication, authorization, many concepts that we cleared before we get into. There are concepts related to governance, organization, functions, various topics that we have taken. We took almost like couple of hours on that, so as we bring everyone on the same page, and then we entered into the, of course, you have actually got the participant presentation on the respective topics. We did prepare you, and I have been telling you that take a screenshot of this, that, so you will have general questions available, and we have example, the audit process. So you will have couple of questions on that. We spoke about the testing methods, you have the SDLC that you will have. So these are obvious topics that you will have questions available. So you have got session recordings, the domain wise the questions, you will also be getting the full question sets. Okay, after this, now you have a question sets available here. Okay, your ID will be created here, and you will have access over there. It is not open for public, It is exclusively for you who have gone through my training, and you will have the question sets available. So there are 25 question sets which I have prepared based on research and found that it is useful, and I have uploaded there for your reference. Now moving ahead with the each domain understanding, if we think about from a part of planning, so what we spoke about the introduction about the overall planning as well as the audit standards and guidelines that we have gone through, that where audit information systems audit and assurance standard, the guidelines, code of professional ethics that we have actually gone through. So there is a uh, IT, of course, the auditing framework that you have actually got it, which is available for ISACA members. Now, business processes that we spoke about, it's like, for example, that what is the audit function, management of audit function, audit planning, and the business processes like e-commerce, email, electronic banking, ATM, electronic finance. Then you had we discussed about the artificial intelligence, supply chain. So we have distributed to couple of people and understand, bring their own understanding. So you present it on your own as well. So that is how you learn, and I have forced you participate into that. So that actually gives you a confidence that yes, I'm learning, and whatever the doubts that you have, you can clear that. Others viewpoint that you might have read the CRM, but others viewpoint when they are explaining, you have understood that as well. Okay, so there are different types of control that you spoke about it. Now when I say types of controls, that we can say, we spoke about, for example, the managerial control, administrative control, legal control, technology controls. These are different types of controls that we spoke about. Okay, now also we spoke about the risk-based audit planning, where we discussed about the audit risk and materiality, risk assessment, risk analysis. So these are some of the topics that we have gone through, that types of audits and assessment, where in this case the you have different types of audits. For example, process audit, system audit, the certification audit, okay, the operation audit, financial audit, then you have integrated audit. So there are a technology audit that you have. So there are various different types of audits that we have gone through and understood what do you mean by that. Okay, now when it comes to in CISA, you remember all these five domains. That first part is planning, second part is execution. Okay, now, in terms of execution, when I talk about the audit project management, every audit itself is a project. So you have to have a planning, initiation, planning, execution, monitoring, control, closure. All these process groups that you have in project management, auditor has to follow that, where you define the audit objectives, phases, as well as the audit work papers that the previous audit has been carried out. Based on that, you will understand that. Okay, and what the then the sampling methodologies that you are going to connect. For example, the compliance versus the substantive testing that we learn. When I say compliance, so this is in general what you have is the document verification, compliance to that, the policies, processes, and the when I say substantial testing, where you will see the how that is applicable. Okay, how it is being utilized. So that is what we can say compliance and substantial testing. So we have gone through that. So there are some certain sampling risk and whatnot. So audit evidence collection technique that we have discussed. uh, Evidence collection, you have the in general observations, you have the report that you are going to collect, you will have in the form of your electronic form, the roles and response. It can be all these are the audit evidence collections that we data analytics. This is something which is what we discuss on the computer assisted audit techniques that we spoke about. The reporting and the communication, where uh, now you should know what is the objectives, who are the audience for that, what will be the type of report, the format of report, all that we discussed about and we learn. Here in terms of quality assurance, the benefits and disadvantages that we spoke about. Okay, so there is a control self-assessment. Now that is something which is important topic. Now this auditor actually, this is in CISA altogether, you need to understand this is a more focus on internal audit. You have, keep in mind, this is related to compliance of what policies processes. You need to recall your definition of audit. Audit says in CISA, says that you need to one, maintain CIA, confidential integrity availability. Two, that maintain the regulatory and legal requirement. Three, that you have the policies, processes, and of course the contract that you have to adhere to that. So this is, and the fourth one, the objectives of the organization, have they achieved it. So this is what is the overall purpose of audit. You are performing evaluation. Okay, you are not performing investigation, you are performing evaluation. So keep that in mind. So this is what we spoke about it. Okay, I hope everyone recall that. I hope everyone recall that. So this, you are your auditor, when you say control self-assessment, auditor will provoke the auditee, or rather give that emphasize that they should perform that control self-assessment, so as the unwanted, or rather the some basics checks that the auditor has to perform, that can be reduced. And an organization should focus more on the where there are the significant risk. That is the prime purpose of control self-assessment. My recommendation is you to read this topic. You will have one or two questions on that control self-assessment. Okay, now second domain we spoke about, we discuss and learn on governance and management, where there we understood EDM like a concept: evaluate, direct, monitor. And management is plan, build, run, monitor. So this is a difference that we understood between the governance and management. You can see in terms of governance management, if I talk about the IT governance part of it, so here the IT governance and strategy part of it, where we learned about good practices of enterprise governance of IT, as well as what is the information security governance is all about, the information security strategy, steering, strategic planning, business intelligence. So there are many topics that we learn. I don't want to get into now each topic and discuss, and I'm just highlighting what we have learned. Okay, I'm just highlighting that we have just learned. Okay, if I think about the maturity model, okay, so when I say maturity model, so we spoke about capability maturity model, that is introduction. Okay, sorry, integration, that was introduced. And instead the process, maturity model, so that is capability maturity model is for the organization. Remember the statement: capability maturity model is for organization, process maturity model is for respective processes in the organization. So that's the difference. Okay, now moving ahead with respect to IT management, you have to have right resources. When I say right resources, ideally you have people focus here. Okay, along with that, you have focus on the infrastructure as well, but that focus is given separately in the domain, that is third domain. Okay, remember that. So this is something which you have to be careful with that in from an exam point of view. Resource management, where you have the in general human resource practice, what we spoke about before hiring, during the employment, and after employment. Okay, so this is like you have a background screening, then employment agreement, then the code of conduct, and then you have the review mechanism as well as after termination. So all these are discussions that we had on overall the the IT resource management. When it comes to the service provider acquisition, okay, that IT service provider acquisition, so in general you have to follow the right outsourcing practices. You, for example, what is cloud governance, capacity and growth planning. So we had a dialogue all that and we learned all that. Okay, so quality assurance and quality, what we can say, the management of IT, which talks about, one is what do you mean by assurance and management. Assurance is something which you are establishing, and what is established, and management is you are following. Now assurance, giving assurance is like the giving business assurance does mean you are setting the right practices, that the audit is being performed in a right manner and you are following that. Okay, so quality assurance and audit. So this is organization have established the processes, policies, whether it is being followed or not followed, that is the management of IT. Okay, where you will, for example, incident management, problem management, change management. So there are various processes are being followed, how it is being followed. Now next is like information system acquisition, deployment and implementation, where project governance management, where in this case we actually learned about the structure of project management. Then we spoke about the PMO office, then the overall key activities of the project management: initiation, planning, execution, monitoring, control, that we learn. As well as that, we learned in detail about the business case feasibility. When I say business case, is like this is a tool for management to take a decision whether to approve or reject the new initiative in the organization. So this is something which you have to be careful in your mind. What is business case? It is a utility for management to take a decision on the services to bring in or not to bring in. So this is something which you have to be careful. System development methodology is where that we spoke about SDLC model, that is you have focused here. Not only that, but also you have a part of the example is the DevOps, the agile development model. So these are two areas that there are some more like web-based application development, reverse engineering. So a lot of things that we have learned out of that. If I talk about control identification and redesign, now here control identification, what controls that you have, there are input controls, error reporting handling, as well as you have a processing of the process procedures that you have control. You have the application control, then you have the decision support tree that you have. So all these topics that we have learned with respect to the planning part of it, when it then in domain 3. Okay, when it comes to information system implementation, testing methodology, if I ask you about the testing methodologies, that the classification, software testing, application testing, which we learn. If I go back and recall, get into further discussion, that one is the system test, the unit test, the full testing. Okay, so the integration test. So these are different types of test. Okay, so there are further testing in while we are performing full test. So what do we learn all those? Okay, we have taken practical examples on that. Now, important one more highlighting part is post-implementation review. I'm moving ahead with the various other processes. Like post-implementation review, we did what is the auditor role in post-implementation, where you have a development team, where you have your user management team, as well as you have a UAT performed, uh, your regression tests have been performed or not, you are when is the have the objectives achieved, have you maintained the records. So while you will be verifying the SODs, segregation of duties in that. So there are various things that the auditor is supposed to review. That when was the post implementation review carried out, the release plan was there or not, the deployment plan have of course executed on the time or not. So what were the results of that, what issues have arisen, how those have been rectified, all that can be we have discussed. Information system operations and business resilience, where if you look at the left hand side part of it, the planning part of it, where we discussed about the common technology components. When I say common technology components, that you can easily understand the USB part of it. Example I said, okay, you also have a part of the RFID or hardware maintenance program. So this is what we said, the computer hardware component. IT asset management, here job scheduling, the system interfaces. You also have that what you can say in system interfaces, we spoke about the risk associated with system interfaces and all. Another where we discuss about examples, we talk about end user computing, where you talk about the overall data management, data quality life cycle. In terms of system performance management, the operating system, your different types of operating system that we spoke about. Uh, you have utility programs. What else we learn? Software licensing issues. Okay, so these are some of the points that we have actually learned. Now, if I talk about next processes in related to service management, where problem management, change configuration. So here, problem management is like eliminating the number of incident. Prime purpose of problem management is to eliminate the number, whereas incident management restore the service as soon as possible. We learned about the process change management. We spoke about the overall change, the types of changes, the normal emergencies, the standard or pre-approved changes. The change management is altogether where you have a RFC initiated, reviewed, discussed in a cab, and then you had the build, test, deploy, and that is what we said all together, and what is the impact, whether it has occurred or not. So this is all together we discussed about change management, process, various other process like configuration management. The configuration management, you have the integration of or rather the repository of all your services and associated components. The it has the uh, in terms of configuration management, the information about the resources, that is your devices, attached with the particular service, current and historical information that you are going to maintain. If there is something outage happen, so you can immediately get to know where is this likelihood of the impact. So SLA is between the service provider and the client. We spoke about SLA and OLAs as well. So how these SLAs are defined, what is service level requirement that we spoke about, database management, then structured database, unstructured database, BIA. So in terms of business, if you recall one of the process that talks about your business planning, okay. So business continuity planning, we define the policy, then we go for risk assessment, then we do BIA. After that, we define the strategy, we plan for that each strategy, and then we of course execute that or we test that, and then we train people, we mentor that, and we improve that overall or continue improvement and communication with that business continues. So this is altogether process, if you recall, that makes a great sense. We define the BI, business impact analysis, so identifying the critical services, and there is a owner who have to define for that, assign for that each service. Then many parts related to BI. I don't want to get into a topic about the overall BIA explanation, but BIA altogether, the impact analysis on the critical, non-critical services. If the critical, what is RTO, what is RPO, we learn, and then we learn into that the business owner. There is a service owner. There is a of course resources, the locations where it is being executed from or it is being delivered from, primary, secondary, and then what is the impact on operations, financials, as well as the impact on the customer satisfaction and legal requirement, compliance part of. So what, when will you execute, when, what is you mean by high, medium, low? So maybe 1 hour, 4 hour, one day, how, when will you execute that, the business continuity strategy? So all that we discuss about that BIA part of it. Protection of information as which is the last domain that we learn, where in terms of the think of your information security asset, security framework and all. So these security framework, think of your ISO 27000 example, okay, COVID. You also have the controlling framework, IT service management, ITIL. So these are SIAM like frameworks that you have, okay. Now NIST like a framework that you have. Privacy principles we did discuss. There is an explanation given on the data principle or a data subject. Then data controller, data, or you have the processor, how this engagement happens. We discuss physical as access and environment control, identity and access management, IDEM. So we learned about overall how it identity and access management of various system integrating together, providing access. Otherwise, with single sign-on, that will have a limitation to specific systems. Integration may possible, not possible, but identity access management may be possible for all those. The systems can be integrated where you have a single source for the identity and access management. And so identity, network and endpoint security that we spoke about, data classification, PKI, encryption that we spoke on, symmetric, asymmetric encryption that we learn, then web-based communication technology, virtualization, mobile, and the also the part of the event management. We learned on the security awareness training, the information system attack method, security testing tools, monitoring and tools. Like we learned about the event monitoring tools and how this is actually the events are recorded, categorized, prioritized, all that we spoke about, and how alerts are generated. And finally, we learned about incident response management, evidence collection with respect to forensics. So this is all together that we have learned in overall CISA. And thank you very much. And those who will listen to this video, imagine the effort that will be put in you for you to understand the concepts thoroughly. Okay, I'll be using my own slides I have created specifically for you that will help you to pass your CISA. And each topic that we have gone through with the questions, answers, why right, why wrong, we have learned all that. Right. I will look forward to deliver services to your organization and your references in future. Thank you very much. Yes, Mukesh.
Sir, it was. My name is Mukesh Saini. Uh, I actually read when how I came actually to iVision. How I came to know regarding iVision is that I searched for some trainings in Pune,
Mhm.
and I found that iVision have been given lot of responses. So I have read all those responses and I like that. So I
Mhm.
actually got into the training. Uh, the first day of the interaction between the sir actually when happened, I was really stunned and understanding, and the confidence level which was been given to me was great help, and I started with that. And it was the training as it moved, it really helped me a lot. It has been given me a good confidence, as well as while through the training we have solved lot of questions.
Mhm.
We have gone through read, and sir have pushed me lot to read the things and understanding. So it was really a great learning and great time, sir.
Thank you very much. How do you see that you are confident to write your CISA exam?
So I think I have to practice like 15 to 16 days, I think,
Mhm.
and then
Mhm.
I am ready for practicing questions is
Mhm.
required, which will be, I think, are there already available,
Correct.
which iVision team is giving me.
Correct.
So I'm confident enough to give exam after that.
Wonderful. I wish you all the best, Mukesh. Thank you very much for the trust and looking forward for continued association on that. Right? Great.
Hello, I'm Devendra Shezwalkar. I have completed my ITIL 4 Foundation ISO 27001 lead auditor and CISM certification from iVision. So after the CISM certification, my sir told me that to I mean my sir told me that to continue with the CISA certifications as well, as you have already completed your CISM certifications. So it will really help you to understand the CISA course as well. So actually I trusted him a lot. Actually I trusted him a lot, so that is why I continue this CISA certification CISM after the CISM exam. So while I mean so so I mean during the his sessions, I actually myself really help us to understand the concept with the real life examples and the real life scenarios in the very in the very uh, easy language. And that is why we actually got to know the concepts very clearly. So now I'm preparing the questionnaires by the iVision team, and I'm looking forward to complete the CISA certification within a month time. So thank you, Mahesh sir, for I mean for gaining the confidence in us. To continue with these certifications.
Wonderful. I am very confident the way that you have prepared during the entire session, and your preparation during the session was also remarkable. We are reading the content given to you, coming with the right questions, and participating in the session was really, of course, essential for anyone to uh, achieve his own objective of clearing the examination. And when it comes to the your efforts, that the determination is really important, although you had completed 3 certifications, so it was, although in a good position, importance of CISA, where you can have opportunities on audit as well as the implementation. Some organization that in general that you go ahead with the implementation part of it. However, organization may have to perform the internal audit. Hiring the resource for audit may not be a budget exercise, will be a challenge for them, where you will be a handy resource. And in general, this is what is the reason that you will find the professionals who have completed CISA or CSAM, they have both the certifications. They will go for CISA after that CSAM. Largely the portions that you go through CISA, that has very high impact on CSAM exam clear. Similarly, vice versa, CSAM to CISA. So this is a great advantage to an individual. And you have done that all three before that as well. Before you get into the CISA, you learn the thorough concepts with the service management and the ISO 27000. That is a basics for you to clear your CISA, and you have realized that because organization cannot get certified on CISA, they can maintain compliance, but generic controls, what are those? You have learned in detail with ISO 27000. Unless you have right service management practices, organization cannot deliver their services. So this is something which is a combination. Along with that, you have to have a project management. Now, this is the last to, and I can say interim, the target. Once you do CISA, I want you to be a PMP as well and see the transformation in your life. People run behind salary. My recommendation is first you develop your capability and the organization will chase you. You do not need to ask for references, pay for the interviews or to recruitment agencies. You really don't need to spend money for that. Where in general students spend at this age maybe a lakh or two to get the right interviews and right organizations to be selected. With this certifications, what you have done and what you will be achieving in the interim, I said PMP. After this CISA, you will sit at, uh, of course, any given organization with a respectable position. Okay, take my words. I wish you all the best for that.